Hi, she's Trixie, and I'm Sara, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarns and crafts and what we hope it does for you as well. We're coming on episode 26.
Yes.
Very excited to share our progress we have definitely made this week. It's been a very, it's been a hard last week, but it's also been able to actually get things done sort of a week.
Yeah.
And actually make real progress. So I know that Mom's excited to show her progress.
Yeah. I was only at 3 rows the last time you saw this. So.
Oh, Lord.
I am that far now. So, going in around and not stopping to even slip stitch, just keep going. It's kind of different for me because I usually have, when I'm doing afghans, I have a stop point and a start point because you have to flip it, each row. This,
You just have that marker.
I don't even have that. It just keeps going and going and going. So it's kind of a mindless thing. You're watching TV and you just keep going. You don't have to stop or turn or anything.
You didn't keep your marker?
I still have the tail.
Okay.
I figure I can start right at the tail if I wanted to count up the rows. But I tried it on this morning. I slipped it up and it's able to fit where I need it to. And so, and I want it to be a little longer. I don't know about you, other people, women, but for me, nothing is long enough. When you're wearing clothes nowadays, everything's right at the hip level or above, and I'm not that kind of person. I want my shirts to be longer. I want when I lift up my arms not to be exposing my midriff. And I that's the appeal of making wearables, is that you can custom it to your own body shape and your own length and size. So I'm trying to do this for myself so that and knowing that I can do it in a round like this is kind of exciting. So that's where I'm at right now, and that's the progress I made over the week. So
well, I've been cleaning our bedroom and our craft room. I know we've never really given you a tour, but
once it's all done with the craft room part, we'll be able to show you all kinds of handy ideas and stuff.
Right. Definitely. I've shared this before. When we first moved here, it was really in a rush, and I didn't have a lot of time to really settle in. It was just more like throw boxes into the house and then figure out as you go. And this crafting room is the only room that is not actually regularly occupied besides this for this purpose, or it also has a TV, and it's right off of my bedroom, so me and my husband spend time in here in the evenings. But it's like we sit on the couch. If there's boxes in the corner or whatever, it's not bothering us.
It's kind of like an apartment within, because they've got the bedroom, they've got this sunroom, and then they've got their own bathroom hooked up to it. So really, when the kids go to bed, they've got their own space.
Yeah.
It's really kind of nice.
Yeah, it's very nice here. It's definitely nice here. It's just, it's taken me a while to, you lose motivation after a while. Once you get the basic needs done, when you have all this excess, you just try to, you want to finally get into a normal routine. You want to finally just do the laundry, do the dishes, just live in the house instead of having to constantly feel like there's more work to be done.
Well, and you got 2 littles also, and that makes it a little bit difficult.
Makes it very hard to go through things and unpack and figure out what you want to keep, what you don't want to keep, because obviously these are things that are living in boxes, so are you actually doing anything with them or not?
Right.
Stuff like that. Well, I have been trying to be, I told you guys I am motivated. I want to be doing projects, but because my motivation is more on things that fulfill, I have not been able to sustain more than a couple of rows or a couple of rounds of something before I'm just like, this isn't really doing it for me. I don't really feel like this is really going to do anything, so then I rip it out. And it's been that way for the last couple of weeks. It's been terrible. Of course, great ideas on Pinterest, but nothing that's actually speaking to me. And because I've been doing a lot of work in this craft room, I was able to go through my yarn bin. Not great, but I was able to actually see what I had. And it hit me the other day how much of one color that I had. It would be like I have a whole 1 pounder or a whole sets of minis or half dones that were all the same color but in the same weight, just not together or whatever. Like, I could do a blanket. I really have enough to be able to do a blanket. This is actually kind of cool. And so I was like, I'm in the mood for something mindless.
Right.
Obviously, I've been wanting to go on the round, but just doing a regular granny square blanket wasn't doing it for me. And I don't really like doing...
Just straight rows.
I don't like doing straight rows. It bothers me because I like to feel it getting chunky quicker than straight row blankets. So I like going in rounds because as it's getting bigger, no matter how many times you do a row, it's getting bigger on your lap.
Exactly.
Quicker.
Yes.
Than doing it straight back and forth.
And you have more stitches under your belt than I do, so you're able to figure out that kind of thing too.
Granted, that's true, but it's more of we were talking about this as yarn crafters or even crafters in general. There are people who are in it for the progression. Yeah. In the process of. That's where they get the enjoyment out of it.
I like the process. She likes the
outcome. I like the outcome.
Yeah.
And so the quicker the outcome happens, the more gratifying. But the greater the outcome, the nicer it is. So obviously things that are bigger or more detailed do give me greater satisfaction. But depending on whether I'm able to complete it is a completely different a completely different point. Not based on whether I have the capacity to do it, but more of I have the kids. Yeah. I have all the materials, because when I get really inspired, I want to just start something, and regardless of whether I have it all. Yeah. And then my libido or my motivation slows down when I don't have everything, and then it's more, I get sad and it frustrates me, and I just kind of push it off. Well, after we had gotten really settled in, fall of last year, a couple of months in, I started really wanting to nest in the aspect of sitting down and making things for the home. And I have showed you guys this before, but I had it as a kind of like a, not necessarily a UFO, but more of like a project that just was on the side. I hadn't finished it yet, but it was going to be finished. At the time, I was really trying to find something to do, and this was before I was making Mario and Bowser. And so I had just gotten all my craft stuff out, and I was just crocheting. And it was at the time, like I said, where I was making things and then they would not have enough of the stuff. And that's what this one was. I had started a virus blanket, or I do believe it's also called the German shell blanket. And I had started this because I really wanted to make a blanket for the new house. That was specifically mine. Something I've done. It's a very pretty and lacy blanket that really builds up quite nicely. And I'm doing it in this khaki color. Here, I think this is what the Canon calls it, like the Karen yarn calls it, is a lace or a dentelle. It's like a lace. It's like an off-white, kind of like an aged looking yarn.
Yeah.
Definitely more khaki, sand.
That's what it reminds me of, sand.
Well, when I moved in, I got this really oversized chair that's brown that has a really nice pattern on it, but the brown is a deeper color brown, but it has a lighter brown accent on it for the details over it, and it's really this sand color. So I was like, even though that color is very muted compared to the really dark brown, this would really pop it out, having it just displayed over the back of it.
Yeah.
That was also before my children became obnoxious little whatever they are now.
Toddlers?
So I'm not likely to have this out and about with them, how they treat that chair now.
Yeah.
My $50 chair is now just their jumping jack chair, and it makes my husband so angry. And of course we do try to take care of it, but sometimes you turn around and they're already jumping on it like there's no tomorrow, and it's just like, Lord help me.
They really need a little trampoline in the house. Just something they can jump on.
Yes, they do.
They both are jumping fiends.
Well, anyway, when I was going through this room trying to get motivated, using that energy of motivation of trying to complete things on something other than crafting, I was like, I can just clean out the crafting room. I have other things I need to get it done in here anyway. I was going through my yarn. Since then, I realized I have been buying sand khaki yarn for other things because I've been making... I knew I wanted to make more ouryarnwhirled, and so I was like, I need skin color.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, obviously there's more than one shade of skin color, but if I was making more Marios or more Luigis or anything of that nature, they are generally Caucasian characters.
Right.
And so I was like, I'm going to need this color if I'm going to make this stuff. And I mean, the orders weren't coming in. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but I knew I had it. And then all of a sudden I'm looking and I'm just thinking, I want to do something. I want to have something to do while I'm sitting down at night.
Right.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I have something already. Because I was actually talking to Mom about this before we started the video. I had just, again, because this last week or two, I've been trying to find something to do with my time with yarn when I had off time, and I've been feeling this blanket idea. And like I said, I tried to go in the standard granny square, but I wasn't doing it. But I love going in the round for blankets. I try to do CNC, corner to corner, and it's not like I don't like this, because it does become big really quick. It goes into its shape really quickly.
Right.
It's still rose. And I wasn't in the mood. And I don't know about you, but crochet hooks remind me of other projects. Like the last time I used this crochet hook.
Right.
I'm just like, I use this crochet hook especially for a lot of things, and I was just like, man. And then I was like, I don't know, for some reason its color reminded me of the blanket too.
Well, yeah, it's really close to it.
And I just was like, well, let me go see, and I found it, and I was like, huh. And I was like, you know what? It's obvious. I just need to continue with this blanket. So I just picked it up, and now I actually have something to show you guys progress on. I know it's a miracle. It's been 3 weeks. But yeah, so right now, currently, I don't know how big I'm going to make it. There's no definitive yet as to what I'm going to do with it. Because it's no longer going to be on that chair. It would die. And it would make me so sad.
What if you made it as big as your bed? A nice lacy blanket to overlay.
I guess I could. I have a king-size bed. I know. No, you're not even seeing what I'm looking at.
She's looking at her bed.
But king size beds tend to be more square just because of the width. Because it has the standard height, but it's most beds are based off of how wide they are in size, not generally length.
The length, yeah.
Length is pretty standard. So it's as close to a square. I mean, this is pretty... I mean, I know that I might not be able to get this fully in frame, but this is a pretty straightforward square blanket because you are going in a consistent box shape. Yeah. I'm not doing it in a rectangle. I don't even know if you can do this this pattern in a rectangle.
Probably not.
I know you can do it in pentagon because this circle that you start off with, in the middle, instead you see the four corners of the virus, the four petals. You can actually add a fifth one on if you did it right. Oh. And so it can be a pentagon.
Nice.
And so it can be a circle blanket.
Wow.
Because you can then round off the corners to be to not be so sharp.
Right.
And it would then go in a round. Oh. And it would be a round blanket. And I was really tempted to do that with this one, but I don't know if I have the guts necessarily to do the whole bed.
But that would be so cool.
It would be cool.
And you know, the antique lace look is very, very it spans generations.
Yeah, yarn ages, you know what I mean, as well as any other fabric, because as soon as any fabric's made out of materials and it's made out of fibers, and as soon as you crochet or knit it, it instantly becomes a material because you are now putting it into a form or into a use.
Right.
And it ages. It ages like everything else. Like some of the blankets that I have from Grandma Udell or Grandma Garvey, like this one, you can smell like not old, not musty. She always used this one, so it's not like she hid it in an attic or anything. But these materials, the way that they made yarn, even a couple generations back, are so different than they make them now that they age differently, and you can just smell and feel the differences.
Well, I'm just thinking though.
And so generally colors like this, I feel age better. Yeah. Just because if there is a stain or anything, it's not really gonna show.
But it already looks like antique lace because of the color that you're using.
Heck, it's actually called lace depending on the...
Yeah.
So, yeah, I might do that. Why not? We can see how that goes.
I mean, at least it'll give you a project for a good long while.
Yeah, it would be something I can go back to. Because this is a project I can set down and pick back up. Yeah. I'm someone that, regardless of how much I try to stay consistent, I generally am a little bit more like, what is it that I need to do with it right now? Right. What is this craft providing for me right now, so to speak? Right. You know, I love feeling like I'm accomplishing something. That's part of the reason why the payoff is so big for me, is because like I've completed something. It makes me feel accomplished. Right. And yet I like having multiple projects because it makes me feel like I'm getting multiple things done.
And see, I thought about starting another project while I was doing this. I need to make something for... I
mean, heck, I guess we can just...
I thought we could... Or I need to make a blanket or a Afghan... or I'm going to make an Afghan for our photographer who's taking our family photos on September 4th. And I want it ready on that day. She doesn't know it's coming. She doesn't... I told her I would pay her, and she's like, no, you're not going to pay me. So I figured the next best thing was to make her something. And she's not really going to be able to turn it down because I'm making it in her favorite colors. So I'm going to do it on purpose.
Sabotage.
And but I thought about that, and then I thought, you know what? It's just as easy for me to get this done and work on that blanket and have that done in like a week and a half. This is going to take longer because it's my own pattern, and I'm not sure how to do it yet. And I still want to be able to focus on it. Blankets are kind of, for me, they're just very,
mindless.
do.
They're straightforward.
Yeah. And I plan to make hers in pinks, whites, grays, and blacks. And you'll be seeing it as I progress on that. And I don't know. I just feel like if I started that, then I'd be letting this down. But there's
a feeling to it. It's like you're not paying attention to it.
But at the same time, so many people that you watch on YouTube have all these whips going, and for me,
you never do.
I never do. I always start and finish and then start another. I just haven't done it, and I don't know if I want to start, because if I do, then I'm going to have too many things going and I might not finish any of them. I know me.
And that's the thing with me, is that I always feel guilty when I start something else, because I'm like, am I ever going to get back to it? Now, recently I do go back to them, like this one, or there's several that I have finished since we started this, and I know it's more of a mind over matter. Sometimes we just get a little bit so consumed with our own inner insecurities that we just are like, oh no, are we gonna actually finish this or not? And I know that's it's really nothing that actually, it matters to us,
right?
Because this is our time, and these are representations of our time.
Right.
And so was that time all for nothing?
Right.
Because we're not actually going to finish it.
Right.
Or give it the time to actually complete it. It's really a mind game sometimes, and it's a representation of what we consider important, and it can be very hard not to feel bad about it when we have to put it down.
Right.
When it was important.
Right. But I do have the next project in mind. I already have the colors for it, and I know what I'm going to do, and it doesn't take me very long. So if this seems to be getting over the time that I'm going to need to make that, because I know that September 4th is our deadline. If the sweater
you might have to put it down.
Yes, I might have to put it down if it's not finished by then. To give myself time to make that, and then I can take as long as I want with this. I do have that project in mind, but I want to give it my all, as much as I can, to get this done first, and then go on to the next project.
I mean, wasn't it on your list of things to accomplish in this year?
Yeah, it was to make a wearable. So
you're definitely going to do it. I really see you achieving this one. I'm not trying to interrupt you by all means, but before I forget, when I started this blanket and was sharing it with you guys, I had brought it up to you guys. I don't remember when it was. I know I did. I had mentioned that how I had found this pattern was through Fiber Spider on YouTube. Fiber, Fiber, Spider, Spider. It's all one. It's his channel. He's a really great tutorial crocheter and reviewer of yarns and stuff. I really love his projects that he does and shares. He does tutorials on almost everything that he does. If he makes something and shows it off, he's going to inevitably make a tutorial for it.
Right.
And I really love his tutorials. He does a lot of shawls, hats, some wearables besides shawls. I mean, I do believe he has done cardigans before, if I am not mistaken, but he generally does shawls or blankets.
Yeah.
So, I highly suggest him. very much highly suggest him for a place to go if you want something to a good. If you are like me and like to learn by being taught instead of just reading the pattern.
Yeah, that's hard for me too.
Now I've gotten better at it over time, just reading the pattern and doing what it's saying, like straight to the point of what it's saying. But he actually walks you through it, and you actually see what he's saying when he's doing it.
Right.
He does kaleidoscope blankets and a whole bunch of lacy blankets and some very interesting concepts. And he's the one who did the virus blanket this way. He has done it where it's a virus granny square blanket, where in between some of the lace rows they would change into being regular granny square rows.
Wow.
He was the one who showed that you could do this in a shawl form. He also showed that you could do this in a pentagon shape. So if you want to do virus blanket tutorials, I highly recommend him. Virus is spelled as it is, VIRUS.
Yeah.
So nothing finicky there. And no, like, it's not supposed to be anything about the coronavirus. This blanket was long made before the whole pandemic was a thing, but definitely recommend him for tutorials or inspiration.
What about that other one that you were going to...
Yeah. I also want to share this with you because, like I said, I have been up and down Pinterest trying to find something to put my time to, and
ideas are key in this crafty world. So
now I shouldn't say that. In this time of my life that I'm in, I don't have the stamina to do this sort of project.
Right.
I'm not sure if you would. I feel like you could if you really wanted to.
Right.
This is called a temperature blanket or a temperature scarf or cloth or whatever you would be making it into, depending on the size that you would be doing.
Right.
So the whole idea is the temperature scale or the thermostat scale. Here, I gotta... has colors set for where the thermostat settings would be. So it's like if the temperature that day was in these ranges of what what is designated for that color. So like for red, it's, anything above 89 degrees. Like the orange is anything between 78 and 88 degrees. So the colors have its own range of what temperature that's supposed to represent. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 colors to represent the general scale of the temperature or thermostat. And what it is each day, regardless of whether you do this for as a scarf or as a blanket, whatever the temperature is that day, you choose the color that it matches on the temperature scale that you're using to do this. And you crochet one line of that blanket or that scarf for the whole entire year, starting January to the end of December. Once a day, you stop, figure out what the temperature is, and you crochet that line.
Yeah.
With that color.
For a whole year.
And look at how these projects, I know it's kind of glaring, but you see how beautiful that progression is? I just saw that idea and I was just like, that's genius. I don't know if I could do that, but that's so cool. It's like a time-lapse blanket.
Yeah.
Or project in general. Something that you do over time. I know that there's some people that do like, they want to make an Afghan, so every week they make at least one square.
Right.
And then they sew it all together in one particular month, like December or whatever. They give themselves a certain amount of time, and they consider those like time-lapse blankets. Most projects take time, obviously, but something like this where it's like you've worked on it each day for a full year, that's intense. It might be something simple, like just a simple line, but that's a dedication.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I know it probably sounds crazy, but I'm just over here just like, that's That would take some time.
But it's pretty.
It's so pretty. And I thought that would be really cool to share. Like,
See, now, I could do that, a project like I'm doing now, and then a one-liner for a day.
Yeah, that
would be, and I wouldn't feel like I was taken away from the project I was already doing, because it's already going, but that's only one line.
You could just do it in the morning. Like, that looks like maybe 50 stitches across for that they did a scarf.
You have it done in a couple of minutes, and then you'd be done to do your own.
You could just do it with your morning routine. Like, before you even get out of bed, if you had everything just in a basket right next to your bed, just roll over, get it done real quick, and then get out of bed. Like, it would be so simple. Just figure out what the temperature is. It would inevitably help you know what to prepare for every single day.
what clothes you want to wear?
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought that was really cool. I don't know if I could do it myself. I don't know.
I do like the combination of colors, though.
But, like, I mean, the whole concept, having a set color scale for the temperature of the day, even if you weren't doing it like this, spending it where it was like you were, that determined what you were doing.
Right.
So it would be like, you made a granny square even, or like an Afghan square.
Right.
You chose the color of what that was going to be based on what that day would be.
Right.
I think another thing that would be very interesting is CNC.
With temperature.
With this temperature.
Yeah, that would be really neat.
And you would know when the halfway point would be to start decreasing.
Ooh.
Because of the half year point.
See, that's a brilliant idea.
And, I mean, splitting the year up in half because there's a 5 wouldn't be perfect, but the last day you could just border it.
Yeah. So cool.
It would just be fun. I don't know. I just don't know if I could do it. Not where I'm at right now with the kids. I just don't think I could spend that much energy, because there's just days I just drain, and I wouldn't even have it in me to do a row.
Right. Yeah.
Where I'm at right now, I wouldn't be able to enjoy it.
That's a project you'd really have to be dedicated at. Every single day you have to make sure you do it.
Yeah, if you're a very organized person that actually has some sort of self-control
or
self-discipline.
Yeah, you just make it a habit to do it every day.
Yeah. So
it's time for the scripture, and this one I bought myself a New Living Translation Bible. I'm really enjoying it. I do read my New King James, and then I read my New Living Translation just to see what the difference is. And it's a lot of the same, but the words are so encouraging. And the New Living Translation, I just love the way that the words come out, and I'm a word person. So this one says, "Whatever happens, my dear brothers and sisters, rejoice in the Lord." Mm-hmm. I love that. And it's Philippians 3:1 in the New Living Translation. But whatever happens, my dear brothers and sisters, rejoice in the Lord. No matter if it's a bad day or a good day, we're supposed to rejoice that God gave us that day in the first place. He doesn't have to give us anything, but every day is a new day to make your memories and fulfill things and to be with your family and to do new things for the Lord. And it's a time to rejoice. Every day that you wake up and you're still breathing and your heart's still beating and no matter if it's sunny or it's raining or whatever happens to happen that day, rejoice in the Lord. So that's just my little take on that.
Well, for me, it's more of like I have friends that are going through a lot of indecision right now, a lot of big life choices that are happening.
Yeah.
Or a lot of changes, like sudden, like uncontrollable changes. Dealing with loss, dealing with changes in job, moving, just a lot of things. And it's such a reminder, just, whatever happens, whatever happens, however life changes or is ever progressing or ever moving, God is with you. So rejoice.
Yeah.
Rejoice in His faithfulness.
Yeah.
Relish in in the idea of knowing that our God has our back. That even if life is a letdown or is at its greatest, He's there with you through it all.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those like pick me up verses of just, whatever happens, rejoice
in the Lord. It's a good one, and it's a good one to get in your heart. If things are going wrong, say it to yourself and remind yourself that God is still there.
The biggest practice is doing it when everything is still going good, because we get very cocky as human beings thinking that's going good from our own doing.
And it never is.
So it's one of the biggest practices is being able to rejoice while it's good, because you're more likely to be able to do it in the bad times if you're willing to understand that He gives you the good as much as He gives, as long at the same time as the bad do happen.
Yeah.
We don't always understand why things happen, but there's always a reason. There's always a lesson behind it. And, sometimes we just have to accept what we will not know until we get to heaven. And so we have to just make do with understanding that God is going to bring us through it no matter what.
Yep. If He brings you to it, He'll bring you through it.
So we had really fun spending time with you today.
Yeah.
We really hope that you were encouraged and just enjoyed our rambling. We really have been really off these last couple of episodes. It feels like you're either ripping this out or I don't have something.
I didn't rip it out this week,
I know, and I actually have a project. Yeah. It's like, look at that. We're stepping up. Yeah. Episode 26. Finally started figuring things out. It's fantastic. So until next week, we hope that you're having an amazing day, an amazing week, that wherever you are, it's sunny, it's happy, you're able to do what you want to do or finish your project or figure out that pattern or figure out that stitch, and that, we are able to encourage you. Sometimes it's not easy to stay motivated. Sometimes it's not easy to always be in the mood for your craft, but it's always nice to have someone to spend it with or to be able to enjoy it with or kind of nerd out with it. So we hope that you have a good rest of your day. Contact us in any form that we have listed with either our email in the description or in the comments. We love you and we hope to see you next week. So until then, we hope that you sit your way
to mental health.